Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so in our last session, we did some data import. In our first session, we saw basic data structures, scalars, vectors, list, matrices, data frames, and we last created a data frame PM using vectors and then C binding them or using a data.frame function. Then we started importing data from file format. So first file that we imported was named as lr_ds1.csv, which was a comma separated value file format. And then we imported a fixed width format file. Today what we are going to do is we are going to import Excel file. After importing Excel, we'll see how R can import data from other data sources also. Yeah. So all these slides have already been covered. Excel. Okay. So there are multiple ways of importing data in R. This is one which makes use of RODBC package. For most of us, this may not run if suitable drivers are not installed. ODBC means Open Database Connectivity. There are two types of drivers by which you can connect to a database. One is called ODBC and second is JDBC. ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity and JDBC for Java Database Connectivity. Okay, so we are not going to run this because in my past I have seen that many machines this may not run. So what you are going to do is you are going to use this syntax to import data in R from an Excel file. Which file that we are going to import? The file is basically lr_xls.xlsx. This file has got only two columns. One is basically a customer ID and second is a holding period. Yeah, it's a Excel sheet, one Excel sheet named as holding period. So let us try importing it. So here, I'll go to my syntaxes. Okay, the syntax is not there written. I'll type along with you people. Okay. First step is library Excel Connect. Before loading the before you run this syntax of installing, always check whether the package is already available with you. Okay, so just type this syntax on your machine, library Excel Connect, and see whether Excel Connect is available with you. If it is not there, then run the above syntax. Do not put the #. The hash is for comment. Once you have installed a package, put two hashes or one hash before it so that the code does not get run inadvertently. X, L and C are all in capital. So while everyone is installing the package, I'll keep typing the syntax on my machine also. Library Excel Connect controller. So whatever packages are required will get automatically installed. Then workbook WB. I am creating a workbook. So what I'm saying is load workbook. Automatically the function will be available. Okay, which file I want to load? lr_xls.xlsx lr_xls. You have to do xlsx. Okay, load workbook. This command has given me error, file not found exception. Any reason why? Set the working directory, because current working directory I have not set. I just started the session without setting it. Now I can set that. So probably now please note I'm using here 2 backslash. if I want to give Windows style of command, then I will have to use 2 backslash, because backslash is used for escape sequence. Yeah. So I'm now going to set the working directory like this, and now I load the workbook. Workbook gets loaded. Excel file. You know that Excel file is called a workbook. Yeah. Inside a workbook, you have worksheets. Yeah. So my workbook is loaded. So what I'm saying is, okay, let me know what all sheets are there. Now this WB, let us see the class of it. It will be a different type of object. It says it's a class which is of type workbook, and it is created using a package Excel Connect. Yeah. Are you getting? This WB will have some functions available with it. So now I'm saying get sheets. So from the workbook, this object, I'll say get sheets WB. So the workbook object is actually capturing the entire Excel file. Using a get sheet function, now I'm saying, okay, get me the names of all the sheets which are there in this workbook. So all the sheet names will come and get stored in this object sh. Yeah. So I can again see what is the class of it. It says it's a character because it is retrieving the sheet names. So if the word character is coming, what does it mean? It can be a vector. Yeah. So if it is a vector, then let me get the first object of that. It will say holding period. That is the name in my workbook. There was a sheet which had a name holding period. Let us see sh2 na, because in that Excel there is only one sheet. Okay. So it has got the sheet names, and the first sheet name is sheet 1. I'm accessing that by this row number 2 is not available. There is no second element in that vector. Yeah. After that, I've got the sheet name. I have to load the data of that sheet from that workbook. So there will be a specific command which is saying read worksheet. So read worksheet. The first, it says object. I have to pass the object WB. Then it says give me the sheet name which you have to read. So I'll say, because I know now the sheet name is holding period, I'll say holding period. Okay. Start row, header, all those things are same. Start row equal to 1. First row contains header, so header equal to true. Now if I run this command like this, what will happen? If I run this command like this, the entire data will come on the screen. This entire data has come in the screen. Why? There is no object to catch it. So I need to give some object. What is the name we have given? My table. Okay. My table. Now this object is catched, and here you see the moment I did my table, a data object got created in the environment. Yeah, I can view that. What will be the type of this my table? What will be the class of this? Data frame. What is the data frame? A table like structure having rows and columns. because it has got rows and columns, it's a data frame. Yeah. So I get my table. I can do view also. My table. I get the view. So the entire set of codes that we have just executed, okay, still here you are clear. Library Excel Connect is there. Load workbook is clear. Now this class is just a syntax to know what is the class of it. When I run this class, it says it's a workbook object which is created using a package Excel Connect. Okay. Then what does a Excel workbook contain? Excel workbook contain sheets. So I'm saying that workbook can have many sheets. I don't know. So I'm saying get me all the sheet names. Okay. So that function someone has written which will go in the Excel workbook and find out how many sheets are there. All the sheets are returned and stored in this SH. Yeah. So now when I get all the sheets here, it is a list or it's a sequence of sheet names. So it is a vector. So when I see class, it says character. Now each sheet has a number position. So first sheet will have position 1, second will have position 2 and so forth. So I see sheet 1, it says me holding period. Sheet 2 NA because there was no sheet 2. Okay. Now I am saying read the worksheet. Yeah. Just see if you are able to run it. Okay. So we have load the worksheet and my table, as we see, it's a data frame. And if I want to see how many observations are there, nrow is the command. Nrow data frame name 19,000 observations is what we have here. Okay. Coming to import, RODBC is another way you can import, but it may require certain drivers. So I'm not going into that. Now, what are the other formats in which we can probably have the data? So probably I can have data coming in a SAS dataset format. If the data is in a SAS dataset format, basically SAS is a paid software which is again used for analysis, and it is well entrenched into many industries. So if there is some company which is already have its prepared data available in SAS, and then for example they want to migrate, or someone is sending you a prepared data which is in SAS and you do not have SAS, but you still are supposed to do analysis, then what you can simply do is use a package SAS 7 BDAT. The package name, the reason why this is named as SAS 7 BDAT, because the extension of a SAS data set is SAS 7 BDAT. SAS is the name of the company. Reason 7 is after version 7 they change the format in which they are storing their data set. So the 7 has come, and then BDAT is binary data set. Okay. So that is about the SAS extension. If you have to import a SAS dataset, what you have to simply say, load the package, library, and only one line command, read.sas7bdat, whichever file you wish to import, which is a SAS dataset, you just give the file path of that and give the file name. It will get easily imported in a R. We are not going to run because I have not shared any SAS dataset with you. Now coming to what is the other data source that you can have? Probably you have other data source which is say database. Database like Oracle, MySQL, Microsoft SQL, Sybase, Teradata, Postgre. There are many databases. So each of the databases have their own drivers. So one of the way you can do is, first is you load a package RODBC. As I mentioned, R is for R, ODBC is Open Database Connectivity. Similarly, there is a package called RJDBC, which is our Java Database Connectivity. Whenever you work with a database, the first thing you have to do is establish a connection with the database. When you establish a connection with a database, some parameters are required to be passed. Typically, databases are installed on a server. So you have to specify which server, basically the IP of the server or the name of the server. In a given server, you can have multiple instances and multiple database running. Okay, so you have to specifically say, in this server I want to connect to a particular database. Yeah, a database listens on a port. Our machine has got ports. On ports, for example, HTML request goes on which port? HTML request, when we just do HTML web browsing, it goes on which port? Port 80. Port 80. So there are ports. In our machine there are ports. So you have to specify the database is listening on which port. Okay, so ports have got numbers. So you have to specify the port number, and then you have to say whether it's a trusted connection. What is a trusted connection? For example, the database is hosted in your own office and you have got a Windows authentication, which means Windows login authentication, which means if you are working from this particular machine having logged in, then I can directly connect to database. I don't have to pass additional authentication. This is typically called single sign-on. Yeah. But if you do not have a trusted connection, in that case, you have to give additional information, which is your credentials, and those credentials are your login and password. So the first step is opening a connection. Opening a connection is as simple as the other way of saying what is opening a connection. I want to speak to someone on phone. So first thing, to speak to the person, I need to dial his number. The moment I dial, a connection is established between my mobile number and the other person's mobile number. And then we start talking, right? So step one, open a connection. Step two, exchange of data. Now, after having established a connection, you can start fetching information using SQL fetch, using SQL query, these commands. After you have taken the required data, after the required data transmission is completed, final step is you should close the connection. Like in mobile, once you have spoken to the person, you end the connection. Why you need to end the connection? Because if you don't end the connection, your mobile will be busy, that other person's mobile will be busy. If there is another call coming in, either you have to end the earlier one, unless it's a conference call, right? So similarly here, you have to close the connection, because connections are basically resources. A server can have n number of connections. If beyond that, if it goes, the server may break down, slow down. Okay, so finally, once your resource work is done, you close the connection. This is how you go about reading data from database. Okay, what we have done so far is basically imported 3 file formats, and then we have seen how SAS can R can work with SAS, R can work with databases, though we have not executed those syntax. Yeah, but it is possible. Where are these objects getting created? RAM. If I shut down, go home, and I want to restart from where I stopped, okay, automatically those objects will get loaded from my workspace. Yes. So what is happening is when you shut down, your R data would have created in your set working directory. Yes, by default when you shut down, a file which is named as .r data gets created. Just go to your working directory and see whether there is any file which is named as .r data. Just check that. Yeah, pm.r data. No, there should be a file simply named as .r data. There will be no name to it. Okay. Now that file has got created in your working directory. Why? Because once you started, you said set working directory. When you shut down, the content goes in the same working directory. Okay. When you restart, ideally those content should get loaded automatically. Let us see whether those content have got loaded automatically. How do I know what are the contents in my memory? ls. If you do ls, you will see those contents would not have been loaded automatically. Just check all the objects that you created, whether those objects have got loaded automatically. You will see no, those objects have not got loaded automatically. Just run ls. In ls bracket, you will not get those objects. No, the what you created today, no. What you created in our previous session, all of those objects are there. The earlier ones. Sure. Oh, let us understand this. ls is there. Okay. Let me see. All of you save your script file. All of you save your script file and run the command get wd and just note down what is your working directory. Everyone's working directory, no one's working directory should be documents. It is not mapped to your document folder path. It is some folder path which is where you are running all this script and all, where you are saving everything, right? Okay, having done that, now let us do quit. Let us quit this. It says, do you want to save these changes? Yes, I want to save these changes. Q bracket. Now there is a command saying, do you want to save workspace image to this path? I say yes. Yes, enter. Quit. Yeah. I'll restart my RStudio. After restarting RStudio, run ls command. All my objects that were there have not got loaded. Only there were certain ABC which have got loaded. Why it has got loaded? Because in the default working directory of R, there is a one different R data which has got ABC objects, and that is getting loaded. Otherwise all the objects will not get loaded. Now those who have loaded, are there objects which have come in your memory? There will be some objects that will come in memory, because in one of the instances when you were working with your RStudio, at that point of time you would not have set the working directory and you would have quit. By default, your R data gets created in the default working directory, which is in the documents path. And when R is restarted, It goes to that default path and loads the object from our data file which is available there. Okay. The object that we created today, WB, sheet, my table, those are not there because those objects have gone in our setwd path. So let us change the working directory. Let us set the working directory. Just set it. Let's set the working directory to the path which was there before we quit RStudio. Okay. Now, no. Set working directory just sets the working directory. Okay. Now load. Load file is equal to double quote dot r data. Okay. I run the load command and now let me run the ls command. All the other objects have come. Yeah. Load bracket file equal to this one, this command. All the objects that I created now have come. So let us understand what is happening. Everyone just have 5 minutes concentration. When you are running RStudio or R, because RStudio in background runs R only. So RStudio, when you're opening it, there is something which is a environment or environ file which is first read. Okay. After that, it goes and reads information from the default working directory, and there are some other settings which is startup profile, startup user profile, and many other configurations which gets executed. At that point of time, is your working directory set? It's not set. So what happens is at that point of time, it goes only to the default path which is as per its factory setting. In that default path, if there is any .r data, it will load that .r data. Yeah. If there is no .r data, there will be no objects. As such, when you are restarting R, we are not able to get our last image. This is entirely because when we are actually running, we are setting the working directory. And when we quit, where is the image getting formed? The image .r data is getting formed in this path which I have set. And when it is restarting, it is reading from its default path. Right? And that's the reason when it is restarting, the last saved object which is based on your set working directory, those may not get loaded unless the set working directory is same as the default working directory, either that option, or when you start R, you configure R parameters such that it understands that the default working directory is this. Yeah. So that is on the configuration side. And as I said that as we will do coding, we'll see configuration settings later. But this is at a high level. I just want to explain this concept. We'll definitely see configuration in 4th or 5th session.
But I have not changed my directory from day one. So I'm setting the same path.
You are setting the set working directory, same thing.
Same thing.
Say you are setting set working directory, dk2 analytics data file.
Yes.
But when my R is starting, the default working directory of R is not dk2 analytics data file.
That is C.
There is C my install documents folder path.
Right.
So at startup, it does not know. See, if I switch off this, okay, quit. Let me again quit. It says that save workspace image 2. It's saying save it here. I say yes. My workspace image is set there. So I'm restarting R. Let me see what is my working directory. It's a documents folder. So from where it is going to read the .r data? So it is going to read the .r data from here. But so there is a difference between exit and difference between there is a difference between quit and difference between start. Quit is happening in a XYZ working directory folder. Start is happening from ABC. So it is not able to get where you left. Okay.
That means there are two directories where the same work is saved.
No, there is only one directory which is your set working directory. But at time of reading, it does not know what is your working directory.
How it is reading the data?
There is a startup mechanism. There is a startup mechanism that says that it will read from C users Rajesh documents only. Can I configure that startup mechanism? I can. That's what I'm saying, that there's a configuration files I can do. It's slightly complicated. That's why I'm not doing it upfront. We'll do it in 4th or 5th session. How to set configuration parameters. Yeah. But this is the point. If my configurations are not proper, we keep going into this problem. Yeah. Now here, let me also tell you one more problem that you can have. Assume you have your configurations and everything proper, which means when you quit, all your objects will get stored in a particular folder. And when you start, all objects from the same folder will be read. Assume you have properly done the configurations. Yeah. As you keep working, more and more objects you are going to create, and those objects will keep going to hard disk when you quit, and this will be read from hard disk when you restart. It may so happen you constantly work for 6 months, and one fine day, after 6 months, one day you are starting our studio and it is taking half an hour to start. What can be the problem? Yeah?
One directory has stored everything.
Too many objects. What is, if you, unless you keep doing RM, unless you keep removing objects, all objects will keep going into memory. It will keep getting stored, loaded. Yes. So removing objects from memory is important when you're working with it. Otherwise, one fine day you will see that your R Studio or R is itself not opening. It will take 30 minutes. You will not have the patience of 30 minutes. For 10 minutes you will wait, and then all of a sudden you will say it's not starting. There is some problem. You will say, okay, let me reinstall. Probably there is a problem with R Studio. Reinstall. After reinstallation also it will work the same way, because the R data will not get deleted when you reinstall R Studio, right? So that problem will continue. So if that is a problem, you should understand that you have stored many objects in your default path, which is getting loaded. Yeah. Okay. Now here what we saw is
as you said, like default we can change it. Yeah, and we are setting the working directory every time. And suppose if that working directory is not into C, but the default part is into D, even that will take time.
No, if my default my set working directory is different and my default path is different, so when I save, all objects will go in my set working directory folder, which I'm setting manually when I run these commands, right?
So if the default path is this, then
Now, if this is my path, okay, and I don't make this path using configuration as default. See what I'm trying to say, there is a configuration file. With configuration file, I can make this as my default path.
yeah.
If this becomes my default path and I'm saving it here and loading from here only, with time, object size will keep increasing unless I don't remove objects from memory while quitting. Unwanted objects from memory should be removed. Yeah. So at times, now here this is my working directory, and let me load. Load file is equal to .r data ls. Okay, some of the objects that we created have come back. So now if I want to get objects which you created in the previous sessions, if you want to do that, set your working directory and do the load, and all your previous weeks objects will be available. If you have saved those R data, or if you have set the set working directory in our previous session, and you're setting the same working directory in today's session also. If you're using working directory ABC in the last session and now using XYZ, you will not get your data. Yeah. Okay. All of you able to create and get the old objects? If not, probably you will have to run these commands again. To avoid that, what you can do is run this command read.table, something we already executed as DFRM. Check if you have DFRM object. If you don't have, I'm going to run and re-import my CSV and fixed width format files. The two files which we imported in our previous session, I'm re-importing it. So header equal to T, I'll have to specify. Sorry, that command is already there down. This one, and my data file path is already set, so I can ignore this, and I'm re-importing one of my data frame. I've just named that DFRM. Instead of DFRM, I'm naming it as LRDS1. Just re-import this syntax, run this syntax and re-import, or if you already have DFRM, then just run this syntax, LR_DS1 is equal to DFRM. Just run this syntax. If you already have DFRM, then run this syntax, LR_DS1 is equal to DFRM, else run this syntax. Okay, done. And likewise, you have a fixed width format file. If you already have imported a fixed width format file by name FWF. Just check whether you have it. If you have it, then say LR underscore DS2 is equal to FWF. If you don't have it, run this part of the syntax where I'm importing a fixed width format. Again, my relative path should not come. Relative path should come because I have already set the working directory. Just try this and re-import the file. So I'll run this part of the syntax also. Basically, the two files which we imported in last week, I'm again asking you to import them. Yeah. After having done, let me see what all objects are there. These are the objects, and let me see what is my working directory. This is my working directory. Okay. Yeah. Now let me explain save concept. What was happening so far, I quit R, all objects get saved to hard disk. Just in case you want to save all objects in your memory to hard disk at a given point of time, right? You basically, there's lots of objects in your memory. You are not sure which is junk, which is important, which is not important. You wish to save all of them and then clean up the entire memory. To save all of them, the command is save.image. So what it will do is the entire workspace, all objects which are there, an image of that will get created on hard disk. And where is this? Where is this R image 1 going to get created? In the path which I have set as set working directory. So let us run that save.image command. This command. Just put the extension A also, R data, not that. Why should you put the extension .r data? Because that is a type of file. If you give a proper appropriate extension, operating system will automatically understand which tool can open this file easily. Okay. So I say save.r data, save.image r data. So entire all objects which are there in memory will go and get saved here. Just in case I want a specific file to be saved, a specific object to be saved. So what I can say is save, and now here I am saying I want to save LRDS1, one data frame, specific object only. I can run the command save command and then say R image 2.r data. Okay. So only this object will get saved, or probably R image 2 or whatever name you wish to give, you can give that name, not an issue. You can even say LRDS1.r data, not an issue. Just run the second command also. Having run the two, what I am going to do is I am going to now, because I am running out of memory, assume, and I have removed all the objects. But before removing all the objects, I am saving all the objects. Yeah, and I want to do something else. So I'm now doing some other activity. After having done that some other activity, I want to get all my objects which were earlier available. So for now what I'm doing, I'm removing all the objects from my memory. If you see, environment is now empty. My environment is empty. If I run ls, it says character 0, which means no object is there now. To load all the object back, the command is load. If I say load file is equal to r image1.r data, instead of running this command, what I'll run first is load file equal to r image2.r data. Because in this, how many objects were saved? Only one. So if I run this command and now run ls, only one object will be shown. If I run the second command and then run ls, all objects comes back. Yeah. So saving is a way by which you can serialize all objects which are in your memory or all objects from your R workspace to hard disk. Load is a way by which you can load the objects which are in a .r data to memory. Other application, why you have to save, why you have to load. Just assume you are working with team members. Someone is sitting here and some of you team members are sitting in other country. You are done your work and they want all your data sets so that they can start working upon it. Will you share with them the raw files and the script files for them to start execution from again? It would be much more convenient if you have your finished data frame, you save it in a file format which is .r data, and then email the .r data or load the .r data on some other server from which they can take it. Otherwise what will happen? They will have to take all the raw files, the scripts that you have written, they have to again run it. So that can be one example where you require save and load. Yeah. Now let's understand one final concept. So we have covered the save and load syntaxes. Final element is R is able to import data from SAS. R is able to import data from Oracle. R is able to import from CSV. What if SAS wish to import data from R? SAS cannot do that. Unfortunately, as of now, SAS has not written packages or some code by which it can directly take R data. But gradually, definitely, they will also do it. Similarly, there are many other tools like Oracle and those things. They have not yet developed those connectors by which you can directly take data from a .r data format. Now you want your .r data to be loaded in another tool which cannot directly accept the .r data file. What are you going to do?
Convert it to the format which
Convert it to the format which the other tool can consume. And the most common format which any tool can consume is a text file format. CSV, comma separated value file formats, fixed width formats, any other delimited formats. All these are text files. So basically you require a functionality by which you can export data from R to a CSV. You require a functionality by which you can export a R to any other tab delimited or any other delimited file format. Yeah. So just like we had a command read.table which was reading data from CSV or a fixed width format, we require a command by which you can write the code, write the data to a fixed width file format or a text delimited file format. So let's see write.table. Yeah. Let me. So here is my command. Write. What I'm doing is I'm writing LRDS1. Any object, you can say take DFRM also. So the syntax is write.table, which object you wish to write. File is equal to where I wish to write. Now please note I have given temp underscore out. The reason I have given temp underscore out is because in my machine there is already a lrds1.csv in the default working directory. Because that's what we imported. Okay. If you are not giving temp underscore out, then give some name abc.csv. Don't overwrite the existing file. Okay. So I am just giving, and also when I have given temp underscore out in my machine, after the working directory, in the default working directory, there is a folder by name temp underscore out. If you do not have that folder, you will have to create. Whatever relative folder path is coming, that folder path should exist on your machine. Okay. So I'm saying write it here. Separator, I'm saying make it a comma delimited file. So separator equal to comma, quote equal to T. So I'm saying make it text qualified. What is text qualified? I'll just show you. Last time we discussed what is text qualified. I took name, address example. Yeah. So that quote coming and quote not coming is called text qualification. Append equal to false. What append equal to false says that if in this folder path, this is relative folder path. So what is the folder path before temp out? What will be the folder path before temp out? Whatever is getwd. So dk2 analytics data file, and in data file there is a temp out folder. It's already there in my machine. Append equal to false. What append equal to false says that if in that folder path, if there is a file by the name lr_ds1.csv already exists, delete that file and recreate a new file. NA equal to NA. This option says that if in your data for any given cell, if the value is missing, not available, while exporting it, it will put the character NA. Okay. So this, when I run that, it will export, and in that folder, my lrds1.csv file will get created. Let us just see the folder, and you can see this file has got created here. Open with WordPad or Notepad, open with WordPad. And here I said text qualified, so it has put quotes across all of them. Yeah. Excel specifically puts quotes only in those values where there is a comma, but R has put quotes everywhere. Okay. Let me see how many records are there. Control End. So view ruler, is there rulers? Not showing me how many records are here. How many line number is what it is not showing. But there are 20,000 records. Okay. After you have opened the file, just close the file, and what I suggest you to run the same syntax. Just change append equal to false by append equal to true, and run the same syntax, and now see you get this warning message also, and now you open the file and see how many records are there. Let me open the file in my machine. So this is the file. I have opened it again. So here, as I scroll down,